Alright, well, I left it long enough, I think. Let's answer some questions. First up, WhoBoy11 asks, is there any Doctor Who merchandise that you don't have that you would like to own? The 80s Dipole figures of, Seventh Doctor and the rest of them, they'd be really cool, but they were always outside my budget. But I'm pretty happy with what I've got. Looking at what I've got now, I often wish I hadn't bought as much as I've got because it sort of sits there and collects dust. I've realised bigger items are better because a lot more money goes into them and the worthness of them is a lot more apparent. And mainly like actual novels are better to buy than the hundreds of annuals and stuff that I've got, which... Tom Presto asks, what are your thoughts on the 13th Doctor? I think it was a horrible decision. The 13th Doctor then being Matt Smith, I think is a bit weird considering his entire era, and Matt Smith himself and Stephen Moffat and like every actor and part of the cast and crew basically labelled it the 11th Doctor. Because you've got his King's Arms football jersey, 11. His room in the God Complex is 11. If they'd left it as a background thing, that'd be fine. But the fact they kind of enforced it in the series, yeah, I didn't like that. I will always think of Matt Smith as 11. It made for John Hurt to be the Doctor, which was really cool. But it did make for David Tennant to exist twice, technically, which is a stupid thing. If we could have just had John Hurt, which would have made 11 technically 12, but we could have ignored John Hurt because he's the Forgotten Doctor, that makes sense. That's fine that 11's 11 and 12 at the same time. That's great. Because then Capaldi would have been the Valeyard sort of character. The numbers wouldn't make sense, but he could have been the evil Dark Doctor, which he started out to be, and it'd end with this really cool culmination of Doctor Who and his final life. And it would have been so much cooler if Capaldi was the final Doctor, because they could have done some clever things with it. Matt Smith, if he stayed longer and got darker, they could have done some clever things with that, but yeah, I thought 13 Doctors, it was rushed. Superman fan Sam, which is lots of Anne rhyming. If you could create a Doctor Who story, what would it be about? It's a tricky one, because as someone who makes fan films and writes fan films, I could give away one of my plots, so I don't want to do that. What I will say is, if I was in charge of Doctor Who now, take one of the missing episodes of Doctor Who, work out the plot of that, tweak it slightly, maybe still have the same monsters, because a lot of those monsters only had one go, and then make that. So then we technically have the missing episode, but at the same time don't, because we've got a modern Doctor in it, and also it's not technically the same plot, because otherwise it'd be really Doctor Who recycling itself. But yeah, I'd love to see them take a classic episode and redo it in a way. That's what I would do at least, just to see a plot which was hindered by its time in visual effects and sets and acting, and see it updated now would be really cool. August... something possibly Swedish. Just do more, that's all I want. Well, I'll give you your request. I will take your request and continue onwards. Crispy Pro asks, what's your favourite video you've ever made? Ooh. That's tricky, see, because I'm sort of sprawn across multiple channels. I think I'll do my top 3 to be able to accumulate all the different channels. My Star Wars The Force Awakens video I did with Josh over on the Nerdcast channel, that was amazing because I decided that that was a thing probably the night before, and then we woke up in the morning and went, let's go film it. And it was raining and it was outside. Anything that, it'll come across on this list, anything that I did outside, I enjoyed most because it made me feel, it just felt more real. Doctor Who The Opening Chapter, which is my big 36-minute Doctor Who fan film, loved doing that. It was the most stressful video I've ever made, but also the most rewarding because it was a full-length Doctor Who episode that now exists on the internet. I hate the lighting, because my face gets so pink. Face still looks pink. Filming in locations, and learning new techniques along the way. Like, I'd never constructed, like, 3-dimensional camera movements. So there's a lot of that, like, I put the raw file of whatever we shot on the green screen, multiple layers back and, moving around the Vorlax creatures. Yeah, I learned a lot of things making that video, so definitely that one. Not a filmed video, but my Doctor Who 50th anniversary title sequence, which is scarily up in views, was really cool. And so it all just came together and I uploaded it, and that was it. I cannot remember the process of making it. It's probably a favourite because of the reaction it's gotten. Force Awakens, opening chapter and the Doctor Who 50th anniversary title sequence. Crispy. Zin Lavender, which firstly is a great name. I don't know much about you very well, but why are you so cool? Because it's nearly winter. Absol Silver asks, what is the current status of your Doctor Who fan series? I want to do a proper update video on that soon, but basically there's a few scripts. The aim is by the end of this year to have at least made 3 episodes. I know that sounds like a really small amount, but myself, Luciana, and basically anyone that's going to be involved in it are just in their first year of like uni. So we're really busy and technically really shouldn't be able to film anything. There will be eventually a full series, hopefully next year, but by the end of this year, hopefully 3 episodes will be released. Comical Gabby says, tell Charlie the Badger I said hi. Hi. From Comical Gabby. And also, would you ever consider collabing with small YouTubers like me? Yes. Yes, I would. Pink Girl 4000 asks, take your favourite Doctor and Companion. What do you think they'd be like if they're not already paired? I love Romana and I love the 5th Doctor. That's the pair that would be after 11 and the Ponds. I feel like Romana would overpower Peter Davison's Doctor. I admit Peter Davison's Doctor can become Mr. Power, that sort of thing. I think Romana would definitely take charge. Which is fine because, I mean, she is a Time Lord, he's a Time Lord. It's not as weird as someone like Clara Oswald taking over the Doctor because she is a human. And that makes no sense. So I think, yeah, Romana and 5 would be an interesting dynamic, and it's happened in Big Finish. That would be the pairing I would do, 5 and Romana. And I think costume-wise it'd be interesting, especially if Romana's wearing a pink Doctor-like costume and then Peter Davison's wearing his cricket stuff. It'd be such a contrast, because he's in like cream and she's in pink. Like, that's insane. Wait, hang on. Yeah, Pink Girl asked, and Romana's wearing pink. Not as big as a connection as I thought. Tom Bowen writes in and asks, are you a fan of Jack possibly coming back for the Christmas special? Thanks, birds. And, if you could pair any 2 Doctors together for a multi-Doctor story, which 2 would it be? Mine would be 12 and 6. Yeah, that would be a good pairing. Jack coming back for the Christmas special. At the same time, I want it, I doubt it. But if Moffat is going on a final hurrah for the next series, it makes perfect sense that he'd start with his first character he created for the modern series in Captain Jack, so I don't know how Captain Jack would pair with Peter Capaldi's Doctor. I think Peter Capaldi's Doctor's become more friendly now. There'd certainly still be some friction between them. Not like that. 2 Doctors that I'd love to see paired together. 11 and 2. I'd love to see Matt Smith and Patrick Troughton work against each other and with each other, because I think whereas 2 and 3 have that sort of rivalry, I think 2 and 11 would see not literally eye to eye because they're quite distant in height, but I think they definitely see eye to eye in how they would solve problems, and, you know, Matt Smith based his Doctor off Patrick Troughton, so it makes sense. And lastly from Steve, yet a man, Steve. 1. Describe that Gillen woman, if possible, in 1 short sentence, and 2. What would your own TARDIS look like? Good 2 questions, Steve. Why am I that close now? 1 word. To take a word from the 11th Doctor, Scottish. And my own TARDIS, I love this. This is great. I'm pretty sure it's Sylvester McCoy's unused TARDIS that they were going to do if they continued the series on. That is the TARDIS I want. It is stunning. You know, it's the perfect melding of the modern series TARDIS console room with the classic series before the modern one was even made. Like, it's like they actually saw the future and went, we know what it's going to look like, so let's build a transitionary console room. But that's it. That's all the questions that you asked. If you have any more questions you'd like to ask having seen this video, comment down below, and there might be another question and answer video, and even if there isn't, I'll manage to weave them into a video. So leave some comments of asking down below, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you must, which you don't have to, so at your own will. So